You know, it's crystal clear. I see this figure floating in the distance. It looked like a fish. It ended up being a plastic bag floating in the water with the current. It just kind of hits wrong when you find this bag in the ocean. And plastic bags can take up to 500 years to fully decompose. Plastic affects coral reefs, it affects marine life, it affects the fish that you eat. It affects everything. My name is Theo Quenee, and I'm an environmental photographer here in Miami, Florida. My mom was always very pro-environment, and I never really realized the importance of it. So when I started getting into photography and filming people in the water and filming kiteboarders and surfers, I started noticing how much trash there was. So I started filming the trash instead of the actual surfers and kiteboarders themselves, and trying to draw more attention to the issue of plastic.
If you guys want, grab some gloves, and people around the tent or around the tarp right now can direct you and tell you guys what to do, all right?
So when I first started doing cleanups, it was pretty much by myself. I would put it up on Instagram and maybe 1 or 2 people would be like, hey, I'm interested in joining you. But now, 6 months, 8 months after, you know, we got 30 people coming out consistently to cleanups. And even when we have bigger events with other companies, we have 500 people coming out. When we do beach cleanups, we basically collect all the trash, we weigh it all, we sort it all. So we put it on a huge tarp and we make our volunteers pretty much pick through it. So we separate it from the recyclables and the non-recyclables. Non-recyclables are anything from styrofoam to plastic bags to contaminated plastics which have algae growing on them. Anything that's a recyclable object has a non-recyclable version of it that's just contaminated. On top of just someone picking up straws 12 times in a row on the beach, they then dump it on a tarp and we see how many straws everyone has collected in general. What we do with these straws, bottle caps, cigarette butts, rope and everything is we try and collect it and make art out of it. Instead of just kind of dumping it all into the landfill, we try and repurpose it and keep it out of the landfills.
Americans use an estimated 500 million drinking straws daily. That adds up to more than 46,000 school buses full of straws per year.
The straw is more than just a straw, it's like a platform really to launch people into the whole plastic-free realm. It's something that people use every day, and it's something that's so simple to stop using. It's really educating.
Oh, man.
Just by ditching a straw, you're kind of putting your foot in the door when it comes to, okay, what else can I start ditching when it comes to plastic? And it just starts to snowball and it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? The straw is just something very simple to start with. So by picking up all this trash and getting other people to come pick up trash too, one, it makes a bigger difference in the way, the amount of trash we're pulling from the beach, and also it's just educating more people because it's hands-on learning, essentially. When fishing line and ropes and stuff like that get lost at sea or lobster traps get cut by boaters, this rope just kind of starts floating in with the wind and it makes its way to rock jetties or mangrove forests and it starts wrapping itself around these structures and basically getting stuck there. All fishing line is plastic. Fishing rope and boat ropes, a lot of it's made out of polyester and nylon, which is plastic. And 40% of all ocean plastic is made up of basically fishing gear. So ghost nets, lost fishing line, lobster traps, buoys, and it's all made out of plastic. A lot of turtles get stuck in this line, dolphins, sharks, sea lions. Bycatch is something that's a big issue in the fishing community. These ghost nets, when they're floating in the ocean, animals do get stuck in them. They do swim into them sometimes and get trapped, and that's when you see these videos of turtles getting stuck in all these nets. These nets are like much larger than just plastic. It also affects everything around it. When I started filming, I became very passionate about it, and I said, okay, like I can make a career out of this if I really try hard. Now my focus has kind of shifted to using it more as a tool to kind of like drive forward this whole movement we're trying to start. And social media is something that people use every day. Really using that time that people are on their phones and trying to make it more meaningful in the sense of learning. And not like boring educational, but interactive educational. It's something that, okay, like you're scrolling through your timeline and you see a video about nurdles and you're like, oh, like, what are nurdles? And then you end up learning like something about it that you didn't know before.
These are nurdles. Microscopic pieces of raw plastic used to make the items people use every single day, such as water bottles, milk jugs, and plastic bags. A recent study showed that 53 billion nurdles enter our oceans each year from the UK alone. That's equivalent to 88 million plastic bottles.
When plastic was created in the 50s, since then, only 9% of all that plastic has ever actually been recycled. The rest of it has been placed in landfills, has ended up in the oceans, or has been incinerated. Single-use plastics are something that people use for convenience. They don't have to wash any dishes if they use them because they can just throw it away and forget about it. But a lot of people don't know where the away part is. Like third world countries don't have the means of having someone go around every week and pick up trash in a truck and bring it to a central location where they can sort it and put anything that's single use or not recyclable in a landfill. A lot of places just burn the trash as a means to deal with it, and when they do that, they're lowering the air quality in their local region, they're harming themselves, and when they're doing that, it's just a big issue. Outfalls are storm drains, and they all lead into the bay. So I found the public maps of all the outfalls in Miami, but there's a major one on 27th Avenue. And that takes all the rainwater that hits the streets and goes into the gutters, whatever trash is on the side of the road, and thrown out into the ocean. So you see all of this mess, right? That's all oil. That's a manatee. Manatees love drinking fresh water. So that water is full of oil and all these microplastics that you probably can't see with your eye, but they're ingesting it and they're drinking it, and that's causing harm to them and their bodies themselves. So we're essentially killing our own marine life without even knowing it, just because the city is poorly planned when it comes to discarding of water or objects that hit these sewage pipes. So there's some places, like I think Australia has implemented a set of nets that they put on the end of their freshwater releases. As long as the plastic's being collected and it's not entering these marine ecosystems, it's doing good. Trash is starting to become profitable as an object. For example, this shirt right here is made from trash partially, and that's something that I feel is going to be very, very popular in the near future. Adidas is probably one of the first major brands to start using ocean plastics to completely change their brand idea, and they're making all their shoes out of ocean plastic, and that's their goal by 2020. The environment affects all of us in one way, whether you like it or not. So it's important just to be able to be mindful about that. As a business owner, you should be thinking about the best ways to reduce the plastic you're using, At the end of the day, I really just want to motivate people as individuals to go out and do something that they feel is right. You know, whether it's starting your own beach cleanups or making sure the business or the school you go to recycles. And you know, you might not see progress at first, you might not see people enjoying what you're doing at first, but it will catch on later on if the idea is good. I'm doing this for a reason and I have to keep moving forward. There's some sort of light at the end of this tunnel. Whether it's working with the city on these issues or getting private companies to make a switch or just empowering individuals themselves. You know, it's small wins and victories that lead up to the bigger picture, but really just getting people aware and educated is the first step in everything.